how I continuously actualize more money. And I tell you what, guys, this is something that I've had to figure out over the years. So when I very first started, of course, doing money stuff on my own as a young adult and carrying on, I didn't have any information whatsoever. I just did the best I could, and it wasn't it wasn't very good. And I ended up choosing a lot of credit card debt. And what occurred from that then was a lot of judgment and wrongness, and the cycle of what I would do is I would work really, really hard and I'd pay it off, and then I'd create more of it. I'd work really, really hard and then I'd pay it off, and then I'd create more of it. And it just was ridiculous. And finally one day, I believe it was in 2014, I asked myself this very, very important question. And I say important because it actually is what started changing it for me, is I asked myself what the value was of continuing to create credit card debt. And the moment I asked myself that, the awareness that I had was that it was entertaining me. Now, I know that sounds really funny, but not entertaining me in like, oh, this is fun, I get to do this again. Not that sort of entertaining, but this entertaining of I had something to do. And so part of that was that I had a level of boredom that I wasn't acknowledging. And also it was something to do. And of course, the wrongness, the judgment, all of that was something to do. I mean, you'd think there's a billion other choices that might be more fun, but all of that. So once I acknowledged that and really got how much I was choosing that distraction to entertain me, now I had another choice. Now I could look at, okay, what would I like to do? Like, how would I like to entertain myself? So what I started doing was one of the most important things for me in changing this was I got clear on what it cost us to live each month. And that was something I was avoiding. And I have a whole radio show about that. It's called Get Your Head Out of Your Ass, back in May 2014. And if I remember, I'll put the link here. If somebody wants to remind me after we're done, I can put the link in here. And then the other thing that I noticed was that I wasn't actualizing more than I needed. So if I had something going on that was a big expense, say, then I could actualize that and cool. But if I required, if I just wanted money to sit in the bank, that just didn't happen. So I wasn't actually creating and actualizing more than I required. So I started looking at that as, what could I put in place? And this is where I want you guys to look. If this is something you'd like to be doing, I want you to look at that for yourself, because the way that I'm going to share that I do it might not be your way. Now, it might, give you some inspiration, and you might find another way that works or differently or add to mine or whatever. But you want to look at that. Like, what do you need to put in place to actually start creating that? And so for myself, I have a really, I've only recently had this wording. I didn't ever really know what to call it before, but the wording that I heard Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, utilize was, I have an incredible competitive edge with myself. So what that means is that I will be inspired by doing better than I did yesterday. So if I, actualized a certain amount of money last month, then it's going to be a bit of a challenge, a bit of an inspiration, a bit of a competition with myself to outcreate that the next month. So that really works well for me. So again, you might need to find what works for you, but this is one of the things that works really, really well for me. And so then what I put in place, and again, this was over months of kind of trying all the different things and doing all the different things, was I put in place where at the last week, about a week before the end of the month, and I still do it to this day, I'll sit down and I will look at what my business is asking to actualize that month. And then I will look at all the things I have coming up that month. And in communing with the business and all of those different creations, get a sense of what they're asking to actualize each month. Because here's the thing for many of us, and you may or may not, this may or may not be true for you, but possibly it is that money doesn't mean anything to us. I mean, for the most part, we probably don't really understand why we can't give the power company a hug for the power that they give us, but it just doesn't work that way yet. Maybe one day, what would it take? So money doesn't mean anything to us. So to have, and that what was occurring was that I wasn't actualizing more money because it didn't mean anything to me to have it in the bank. So I had to find a way basically to trick myself to have it in the bank, because I knew that that was something I desired. I knew that would create more ease in my life, but it was like looking, kind of going beyond I couldn't force myself to make money significant. That was never going to occur. So what was the trick? And so this was the trick of like looking at and then working with, so because the money for me, for the most part, comes in via my business, looking at how do I create with the business? What's the business asking for? Let's not make it about me, because if it was me and what I'm asking for, it's not going to inspire me. But what's the business asking for? How much money would the business like to bring in this month? And then individually with each creation. And so I've got, I've got a link above in the show or title or whatever, and it's called the 𝗔𝗰𝗁 as fuck course. And so I've created a whole course around this, taking you through all of the steps and all of the pieces. The bonus in this course, if you go to the webpage and look at it, is that I take you through this whole process. So I show you how I do my yeses and nos. I show you how I commune with the business and how I do it. And I did it for next month. So the video in there is all about the money that my business is asking for July of 2020. But it takes you through all of the steps. So that's just one of the pieces, but I just wanted to talk about that. But I take you through all the pieces in terms of setting the financial target, because that is something that a lot of people don't even consider. They kind of go, oh, well, this is the amount that I can have, or this is what's coming in. And what if you would like more? What do you need to put in place to have that show up? And even if you don't have a business, let's say you're employed and you do have a certain amount that comes each month from there, but maybe it's not the amount you'd like. So then what else? What else is required? What can you add to your life? And so because mine is business, then I sit down with the business, I ask it, I commune with it, I get clear with it of what it's asking for. And then it becomes this challenge where I'm actually every day, pretty much every second day for sure, going in and putting in the money that's come in. And that becomes, so it's not even, again, about the money, it's the competitive edge of, if the business asked for, say, $10,000 from a foundation class, and I'm at $8,000 for that foundation class, then I know that there's a $2,000 difference between the foundation, what the foundation class and my business are asking for, and what I've created so far. So it becomes totally fun and totally like, what else is possible? And it is a level of magic that, yes, there's steps to, like actually getting clear again on your target and then communing with, and then putting in all those magic tricks that are possible so that you can be creating what I call your own personalized action plan. So you've got questions to ask every morning and questions to ask every night and different tools to use throughout the day. So you're continuously actualizing more and more and more. And it becomes where, again, like it's this excitement of, if the business asked for something, the creation or whatever it is that you're communing with has asked for something, and you're not there yet, like that becomes like that's just a really exciting way for me to inspire myself forward and to actualize what the business is asking for. And then it's more, usually, I mean, I can't say 100% all the time, but it's usually more than it was last month. There's this continuous out-creation of what the business is asking for and what the business knows is possible. And again, you might not have a business. Yours might be through employment, or it might be through contract work, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's what do you need to put in place to get you excited so that you're constantly actualizing more money? What does that look like for you? And you can actually utilize this in anything, and so I'm a big tracker. I love to track things because of that competitive edge for myself, because if I track that, the amount of money coming in, then I'm always aware of it. But if I don't track it, then I can easily lose the awareness or shut off the awareness or whatever we want to call it. And so it becomes this exciting thing. And so I've done a lot of changes with my body in the last 6 months, 5 months, I guess. And so I track that. I track the inches, I track the pounds. And one of the things that I would say with tracking for any of us is if you're tracking and then you judge, you don't. You're not allowed to. I mean, you can do what you'd like, but if you're tracking and then judging, you're not actually going to create the change that you're creating towards. So, I track it as a way to inspire myself forward. And so let's say with, the amount of money, if I don't, let's say that, the example of the foundation class and it's asking, to be 10,000. And let's say I only actualize the 8,000 for that month. It's like, okay, cool. And then I'll actually ask myself, again, as long as I do it from no judgment, I will ask myself, so truth, what was the 10 seconds of unconsciousness that I used to not actualize what was possible? Yeah, right? But again, that has to be done from no judgment, because if you're going to judge you when you ask that, there's no point. You know what? There's no point in judgment. You're never, ever going to create the change you'd like or the magic you'd like or the possibilities you would like with judgment at the table. So just everything that is, everywhere you've made judgment valuable, everywhere you've decided that you have to judge and that's the only way you'll change things, we destroy and uncreate all that and return it to sender with consciousness. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, 𝗠𝗢𝗥, shorts, boys, beyond. So that is the Access Consciousness clearing statement. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information about how it works, but it's like a magic wand. And so we have all of these bizarre points of views. And the one that I've heard more than anything is that if I don't judge myself, so whether it's body related or money related or whatever, if I don't judge myself, I won't create the change. And it's the exact opposite. If you judge yourself, you won't create the change. And so if you can look from really a big perspective of like, man, the business or my employment or my, contract work or whatever is asking to receive this much money and I didn't meet that or surpass it. Now what? What is that? What 10 seconds of unconsciousness did I use? Like where you get curious with it and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I totally knew to phone that person, to post on Facebook, to go to that place, to, invite my friend to this, like whatever it was. You'll start having the awareness of what is possible. And then what I find for myself is the next month, when that familiar energy comes up of like, oh yeah, I should phone that person, but I don't want to bother them and all that crazy. It's like, wait a minute. Last month, when I didn't do it, I didn't create what was possible for me. So it becomes more of an inspiration. And so it's finding for you, if you would like to be continuously actualizing more money, it's finding that competitive edge for you. What does work for you? If tracking and all of those things like I was talking about works for you, awesome. Then go ahead. Or maybe you need to try it. Maybe you need to try some of those steps I talked about and then add in your own or take out things or just find your way. Because if you're just kind of sitting and hoping and wishing that it happens, you're probably not going to actualize it. But if there's some actual things put in place of what's going to inspire you forward and the steps that are required for you, and you take them, not just the awareness of them, but the actual taking of them too. Yeah. And so for any of you, I would just love if this is something you're interested in, you're looking at actualizing more money, please go check out the 𝗔𝗰𝗁 𝗂𝗂𝗀𝗃 course. I've called it the course for actualizing your money dreams. And it takes you through all of those steps. It takes you through setting the targets and clearing the crazy, all those silly points of views. it takes you through all the magic tricks, like 18 different magic tricks that you can utilize. And it takes you through putting together your own personalized action plan. And then I also put in there a whole section on communing with money. So much like I was talking about communing with business and communing with creations, we also can commune with money, which means we can chat with it. We can invite it in. We can ask it where it is. We can ask it who to talk to. Like we can create so much magic if we're willing to commune with everything. So right now I'm talking about communing with money, but honestly, if you're willing to commune with everything, like your body, things you're selling, maybe your home, your vehicles. A lot of people naturally commune with their vehicles, like they've already named them and stuff like that. But take that communion into every area of your life and your living, because that to me is where the magic is. That's how I've created so much in every area of my life, is through that communion, through that willingness to include. So, with the changes with my body, it's with my body. I'm not doing anything to my body. I'm not forcing her to do anything or be anything she's not asking to. I'm communing with her and co-creating with her. So imagine communing and co-creating with money. Imagine what might be possible if you were willing to be that magical. Yeah. Awesome.